Hello, I'm Greg Bird, editor of the McCreary County Voice, and we'd like to welcome you to our 2014 general election candidate interviews. As the general election nears, we feel it is vitally important to present you, the voters, with as much information on the candidates as the races as possible to best make an informed decision when going to the polls. With that in mind, we'd ask every candidate to come in for a one-on-one interview. The format will be simple. Each candidate will be offered an opportunity to make an opening statement, then will be asked a series of questions relating to their race. The candidates have had no prior knowledge of these questions, and each candidate will be asked the same questions. At the end, each candidate will be offered an opportunity for a brief closing statement. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to the 2014 general election candidate interviews. Good afternoon and welcome to McCreary County Voice 2014 general election candidate interviews. I'm here with our Democrat candidate for Daler, Derek Jones. Derek, thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Derek, would you give our audience just a brief description of yourself and your background?
I'm a native of McCreary County. I've traveled abroad across the nation and the world. I've did my military experiences with Kentucky Army National Guard. I served also with the United States Army. I'm a Persian Gulf War veteran. I've worked with various emergency service agencies here in the county. I'm a former member of North McCreary Fire Department. I worked with the Rescue Squad. I was a member of the Police Department Merit Board back in 2006 when we tried to put that together. I worked with the veteran organizations in the past. I was the VFW event coordinator. We did some car shows and some public events up here. I do a lot of charity work with my Star Wars costuming groups, and it's real fun. And, plus, I'm currently a truck driver, and I've been doing that on and off for about 20 years.
Okay. Well, of course, you are running for jailer, and what have you learned from your professional and your personal career that you believe will be an asset to the position?
Well, regardless of the job you do, let's talk about leadership management. Regardless of the job that you do, you use those same principles. You got to keep your public informed. You got to keep your staff informed. You got to properly train. You got to stay organized. I don't care if it's church or it's VFW or American Legion, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Those same leadership principles apply. And when you use those leadership principles, you'll be successful in everything you do. And and other than that, you have to make a physical effort. You just can't sit and rely on others to do the job for you. I really like taking a hands-on approach. I'm not afraid to put on some blue jeans, grab a rag and a bar of soap, and just jump in there and do something, clean something up. I'm not afraid to tell others to do it and jump in and help.
Okay. Of course, one of the major topics of this campaign and of the past 2 years, obviously, is the McCreary County Detention Center. It has been shut down for the past 2 years, and a lot of talk is about the possibility of reopening. And I know you've been a major advocate as far as reopening the facility. Can you give a brief outline of your plan to pursue the possibility of reopening the jail?
Well, if I get elected, most of my plans are on hold now until after the election.
Absolutely.
And that's just like with any candidate, we're restricted on what we can do. Now, if I'm elected, I'm going to start the hiring process. I got to get some quality personnel in there. I've already been speaking with Department of Local Government, Department of Corrections, Bureau of Grant Management, different state agencies, Kentucky Jailers Association, I've spoken with them as well. So everything depends right now on November 4th. Now, if I get elected, I have to go to Bowling Green first week of December and take a 4-year training course with the Jailer Association. And, that while I'm doing that, folks who want a job or is interested in applying for work can put an application in and bring it to the Judge Executive's office. Now, once I get elected, if I get elected, I'm going to go up and sit down with whoever the next judge executive and magistrate is going to be. I'm sure they're going to have a meeting, and we're going to discuss the jail and what needs to be done. Maybe even go down to tour the facility once again for those individuals who hasn't been able to see what is needed. I want to get the keys to that building. The sooner I can get the keys in my hands, the sooner I can start working on it. I got to rewrite the job description for the transport officers. Let them know that they're going to be doing more than transporting. I mean, they've got to do building maintenance, they got to do vehicle maintenance, there's security, there's some public programs I want them to participate in. So once they are hired on, they know what they got to do, and they can join me down there cleaning that place up. 80% of the jail is it's dirty, it's filled. It hasn't been touched in 22 months. There's still garbage in the floor. And then there's some major issues with the plumbing. We got to bring a generator back. I think it's currently at 911. I've been pressing real hard with fiscal court and the judge executive's office. They need to get a new generator for 911, bring the old one back to the facility. We got to put that kitchen back together. We got to get with the health department, get it certified for use again. Got to get with the state fire marshal's office, have him come by, inspect the building, put his stamp of approval on it. We got to do all this and get this place cleaned up before we can put a single prisoner in. Now, I'd like to have this all done if I'm elected by April or late May. So we're coming into the next fiscal year. So around April or May, I'm going to be already working on next year's budget. And I'd like to bring the female prisoners in first, because majority of our increased costs right now, we got to take female prisoners all the way to Case County. And our male prisoners are going to Wayne County, Wade County. It's not as far to travel. Once we bring our female prisoners in, I can bring more staff on board, to take care of them, get it functional. And once we get the lower levels fixed, we'll start bringing the males back in. Now, once we start bringing the prisoners in, I got to get with DOC. And I'm not going to call them. I'm going to go up there, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meet with them like we're speaking right now. Give them a plan. I want to show them the type of staff I have working for me. I want to invite them to come down and do another inspection. Let them know that we're serious. We're going to keep our security. We've got control of the facility. We're going to run the facility, not the prisoners. And I want to hit them up for a probationary period for state prisoners, whether it be 6 months, whether it be 12 months, whether it be 18 months. But the thing is, I want to prove to DOC that we are capable of managing this facility. And once we prove that we're capable of doing that with our county prisoners, then maybe we can start bringing our state prisoners in. Now, for a new facility, DOC has already said no new facilities is being built in Kentucky. But, one of the reasons why I went to the congressman's office when I set that meeting up on August 25th is I wanted him to know what's not only going on here in McCreary County, but what's going on in the 5th District and also in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, because jails across Kentucky are either closing or they're just full. And the state wants us to go with a regional jail plan. Problem with that is it's great in theory, but none of the counties can afford it. If we're going to put $4.23 million for a regional facility because we got to pay part of the cost, well, wouldn't we save more money just fixing our jail up or building additions onto that jail? Because we need to keep our jail here. There's a lot that has to be done. I mean, there's more to this job than just transport. I mean, I got to deal with the transport schedules, the vehicle maintenance. I got to coordinate with the fiscal court, district court, and circuit courts. Probation and patrol, and also, probation and parole and other law enforcement agencies. There's a lot has to be done with that.
And of course, you mentioned getting a hold of the budget and working the budget. And obviously, with the county and the financial state it is in, and you're well aware of that, where is the money going to come from? Most of the money right now is obviously going out towards the transport. It's paying for that. Where are you going to get the money to do the repairs that you need? You have the manpower, but what about the materials?
Well, I've been, since last year, I've been looking at the budget. I've communicated my discoveries with the judge executive's office, trying to influence them to apply for different grants. Because I feel, if we can put $50,000 and get a a justice assistance grant. And our part's $50,000. Well, that's $200,000. So we're going to save $150,000 in materials and everything. The money's out there. We have to make an effort to go after it. And there's a lot that's got to be done on that. We have to get with the Bureau of Grant Management, and we have to go up there and open a new account with them. Once the new account is opened, then we get our applications. They said, Ms. Jones up there said that they would help us go through the application to what we could apply for, what we couldn't. The grant window closes in mid-March, and the award letters come out in May. So, and then when the award letters come out in May, I think they cut the checks in June. Well, we're at the end of the fiscal year then. So there's no excuse for applying for these grants. There's no excuse to say we don't have funding for matching funds. And the great thing is, if we do not get awarded the grant, we still have our matching funds. We can shift that to other county needs. So, like I said earlier, we have to make an effort. And the big problem we have right here is to get somebody to do it for us. It's pass the buck mentality. And I just don't play that game. People accuse me of being too hardcore, but if I see an opportunity, I want to jump on it. Like you said, the budget. This year's budget is $699,000. Now, unless they changed it, I think they was expecting or making an assumption that $100,000 of that $699 is going to be revenue from the state. So I don't like managing a budget on assumptions. I go by cold hard facts. I look at what we've done here in the past, and it's usually $850,000. So I like to have that solid number right there sitting in the budget, and then start looking into saving money and generating revenue. And as that revenue starts coming in, we start reducing that $850,000. So at the end of the year, you get your firm numbers. Hey, our cost is $850,000, but if I was able to generate $250,000, that's money that's back into our general fund that we can use on other things. So I want to eliminate that issue of, well, we don't have money. I mean, we have the money. What we do not have is, I feel, that's just my opinion, is proper management of the money.
Okay. Well, in the eventuality that the jail gets repaired and reopened, until then, we're still operating on the transport system. And currently, the fiscal court and the judge executive's office manages that system.
Right.
If elected, are you just going to assume the role and run the system they have in place? Or do you have ideas to maybe make some changes or improve it?
Well, currently, they are in control of that system until January 1st. As soon as the next jailer comes in, then I feel that responsibility falls to him. And that's why I was stressing I want to hire new staff, because this staff is going to work underneath the job description that I write, not the job description this current administration writes. Because we don't know who's going to be elected. Your judge executive could be Wayne Phillips. It could be Mr. Waters. It could be Mr. Stevens. Your next jailer could be me, Jesse, or Jerry. So we don't know. We're kind of stuck till November 4th. So in the event I get in, by the time January 1st comes in, I'm going to have the current staff that's on. I'm going to say, okay, guys, I'm taking over the operations. I'm taking over the schedule. This is what we're going to do. You guys are no longer running at $50 a pop. I want you all on a salary. Because a county employee, I feel they deserve the same benefits as other county employees. And then in February, when the new staff comes on, they will come on working underneath the new job description. I'm going to have an orientation with them, and I'll set the scheduling up and the training schedules, and then we'll get the ball rolling on it.
Okay. Our current transport officers are paid $50 a clip to run due transport, and one of the major issues when the jail was first closed is a lack of participation by the jailer in the actual transports, which drove the costs up. How active do you plan to be in the actual transports?
Well, I will be doing some transports. Got to. There's no argument about that. I will be active in it. I need to learn that system. I haven't dealt with the transport system in a long, long time, so I need to get familiar with it. I also need to go to these surrounding facilities that's holding our prisoners, meet their staff, have discussions with those jailers. I also want to look, while I'm there, look at their standard operation procedures and their protocols in transporting and also with housing, prisoners. Wayne County's got great programs with their community service. But with the transport system, I feel it needs to be managed better. There's some incidents that's happened in the last couple of months I do not agree with. And the reason why those incidents happen because there's a lack of communication and, maybe a lack of leadership. Usually, here's your prisoner, go do it, that's it. And there's a lack of training. I've spoke with individuals and former individuals and that's with this transport system, and training's tough. County's micromanaging. They don't want to pay for the training. I think it's important we have some driving training and a lot of certifications in just about everything you do. Everything has to be redone.
And you just touched on my next question as far as the training. It sounds like you plan to obviously continue training your transport officers, but you're training towards being actual deputy jailers.
Yes, I want to go with the 3 transport teams and a part-time team. And, that's 3 males, 3 females, and 2 part-time officers. Now, once we get the jail facility open, these transport officers are going to transition into, I guess you'd say, shift leaders or shift sergeants. And then the new staff that I bring in, these transport officers or shift sergeants are going to assist me in their training, in the in-house training, to bring them up to speed and get them active in the facility. I've already been speaking with different instructors around the region about different forms of training. I mean, we got to get some medical training. We have to get use of force training, firearms, corrections. Jailers Association's going to offer training. And, it's real important that we get this certifications. Another reason why is our insurance in the county is running us $670,000 a year. And I've already spoke to 2 different insurance agencies about that, and I said, can I help reduce that cost and save taxpayers money by getting my folks properly trained, get them properly equipped, and get them certified. I want to reduce them liabilities. And if I'm reducing those liabilities, we should see it on the insurance. I have to sit down with this fiscal court and stress the importance of reducing these liabilities. If they truly want to save the county money, they should go along with this plan. I mean, that's my opinion. That's how I feel.
Okay. Well, that leads right into my next question. This is a little pie in the sky. This kind of to see where your thoughts are. But January 1, you take office. You have your budget in front of you, and you're going to be working on the new budget. But the state comes along and says, "Here's $100,000. One time, you can use it for whatever you want." What would you spend $100,000 on?
Oh, $100,000. And if I could use it on anything I want,
anything you want,
I'd probably set on $75,000 of it, till about February, March, and use that as matching funds towards grants. Because if I could take that, say, at $75,000, or even the whole $100,000, and use that as 25% matching, that's $500,000 almost. And I could do a lot more with $500,000 than I could with $100,000. And use that funding towards upgrades within the facility. I could pay for training for all the officers and myself, upgrade new equipment, replace all the electrical and the plumbing in the building, put a new roof on the state prisoner side. There's a lot that could be done with $100,000. That'd be great. That'd be awesome if it happened. But we don't know. Which is another reason why I've been speaking with the congressman's office, and but that'd be great. But that's how I'd spend it. I'd sit on it and try to invest it and just try to make more money out of it utilizing other grants.
Very good. And this will be my final question for you. But at the end of 4 years, if elected, where do you envision the position of jailer and the McCreary County Detention Center to be at the end of the first 4 years?
At the end of the first 4 years, I envision it to be fully operational. It'll be fully upgraded. it's tough, because the federal budgets change so much. They shift with world events. And the sad reality is, we're one natural disaster away of having all types of funding. That's just the way it is. I mean, it used to be but prior to 9/11, it was hard to find any funding, for ambulance services and fire departments, and then, there was that disaster. And then there was all kinds of funding for all emergency services. So if the money presents itself, an opportunity presents itself, I'm going to jump on it. I've been preaching for a very long time as a long-term plan of building a new justice center. And I've spoken with county officials about this. Some agree, some disagree. Everybody's entitled to their opinion on it. But I want to consolidate all the county emergency services, 911 ambulance service, the jail, sheriff department, constables, coroner, everybody's one big building, justice center. And the way I've explained, we have the property for it. It's actually right next to the current jail. And, a lot of folks think I just want to go one story straight out. No, I want this to be a 4-story building. With the 2 basement levels or sub-levels will be the actual correction center. The upper levels will be office space, training space, for, communication center, emergency operations center for emergency management. Our drug task force will have an office there, state police have an office there. Because we have a lot of state and federal agencies that have jurisdiction here in the county. And they have offices scattered around. So it kind of helps the state and the federal government as well to consolidate all our resources in one building. And of course, it'll be a state-of-the-art building. But that's something that we cannot pay for ourselves. That's where, we have to work with other agencies for matching funds on that, in partnership with them, get with state agencies and federal agencies. You got a lot of naysayers. Oh, you're dreaming, it'll never happen. Well, benefit of being a truck driver is I get to drive around the nation. And, I see it happen. Our biggest hurdle is the lack of leadership to pursue that. We got a lot of dreamers that want it, but we want somebody to do it for us. So we actually need some folks that's willing to pursue it and just stay on it and stay on it, stay on it. I mean, all plans start as an idea. You put it on paper, you refine it, you turn it over, you bring more players in and more partners. And sooner or later, the money's going to present itself. Some folks disagree with me about approaching Hall Rogers and Mitch McConnell, but you got to realize, Hall Rogers and Mitch McConnell they're both, they sit pretty high in our federal government. They have access to resources and fundings that a junior congressman or a junior senator wouldn't have access to. And they're doing wonderful projects throughout their districts and in Kentucky. So, and they've done things here for us. So I feel it's time that, they need to come back to McCreary County and help us a little bit more. And one of the big issues that we need to address here is the Justice Center. Maybe make it a regional facility, a 500-bed regional facility, which will create more jobs here, more jail jobs. States won't go for regional plan anyway. So what's wrong with drafting a plan like that and approaching it and trying to implement it and stay on it? Because we got every county around us, somebody in there, I guarantee you, is writing out the same plan. They want to be that regional facility. They want to bring that funding in from surrounding counties. They want those jail jobs. Well, we need that here too. But we also need leaders that's willing to pursue that.
Okay. Well, Derek, you want to take just a moment? Do you have anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to get across?
So, in closing, November 4th is coming up, and, I always call it I tell all the candidates this, I said it's the day of truth. That's the day you find out how many folks actually vote for you. Folks, I'm serious about this. I want to do this job. I want to reopen our jail. I've got plans in place, for our near future. I have long-term plans in place. But right now, I'm stuck in limbo till November 4th. I can't put these plans in action until you make your decision on who you want to be your next jailer. So I'm asking you not only just, look at me, but look at your other candidates. Look what they do. Look what they've done. look what they're capable of doing. I've got my heart and soul in this. I want to do this job, and I can't do it unless you vote. And every vote's going to count in this race right here. It's going to be a close race. Not everybody's going to vote on the jailer race because the jail's closed, so it's going to be very close, very tight. And I want your vote. So please vote on November 4th for Derek L. Jones. Also check my Facebook page, Derek Jones for Jailer. I got a lot of information, a lot of links there. Feel free to look in that and explore it. Like the page, share the page with your friends. And thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Derek, thank you for coming out. Glad to have you. Hello again, I'm Greg Bird, editor of The Voice. I'm here with Jesse Hatfield, our Republican candidate for jailer. Jesse, thank you for being here today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Would you mind taking a moment and telling the viewers a little about yourself?
Well, my name's Jesse Hatfield. I've been employed at Anderson's Market for over 20 years. I am a full-time employee, and I will be a full-time employee at the jail. You know, I've worked there for 20 plus years, and I've never missed a day. My wife is Sherry Hatfield. I've got one daughter, Jessica Hatfield.
Okay. What have you learned in your personal and your professional career that you believe will be an asset to the role as jailer?
Well, I've dealt with the public for, you know, all my life. Ever since I was going to school, I worked at Morris's and I dealt with the public. Then I moved on to Piggly Wiggly's and I worked with the public there for so many years. And then at my current job right now, I've worked with the public. You know, I know how the public deals with things, and I believe I'd be a better candidate for the job.
Great. Of course, one of the major topics of this election in the past 2 years, as a matter of fact, has been the closing of the jail and always the option of reopening it. Do you have a plan or an idea in place that possibly reopening that jail in the future?
Well, I believe it'll get reopened, you know, just as soon as they find a different jailer. You know, they said they just wouldn't work with the current jailer on the problem they've got because they've had so many problems. They wouldn't. The Department of Correction wouldn't deal with him. Okay, he wouldn't there to talk to on the job. But you know, Representative from Harold Rogers come down and met with us a month or so ago, and he thought we could probably get the jail reopened on a 48-hour base. You could hold him for 48 hours. Then if they couldn't bail out or bond out, you'd have to transport them somewhere else. That'd be a good start on the jail, you know. And then they said you'd have to work the Department of Correction on getting the old part refixed. And, you know, it's really in bad shape. You know, you've seen the pictures in the newspaper, and it's just something that's going to have to work on. You know, it didn't close overnight. You know, it's going to take time to get it reopened.
Where do you see the funding coming from? Obviously, the county's in a difficult financial position, and a lot of their resources that would normally go towards the jail are being spent on transport. Where do you see working the budget to get money to clean up and fix up the jail over the next few years, I guess it would take?
Well, you just have to have a jailer work with fiscal court, you know, and save money when you can, and watch your budget close and stuff like that. Okay. Harold Rogers' representative said there wasn't no funding out there available for jails right now. Like he said, they built a new jail in Jackson County, spent $7.5 million, and the smallest jail they could build was a 150-bed jail. And they done that. He said it's right on the verge of closing. Okay, they ain't got funding for it. But I believe you can get that thing going, you know, if you just cut costs here and there and watch your cost on things.
Okay. Well, like I said, currently the majority of the expense to the county is the transport officers, and they're paying them $50 a pop. And right now, the judge executive and the fiscal court are controlling the transport system. If elected, do you plan on just taking what they already have in place and just taking it over, or do you have a different idea in place how you'd like to manage the transports?
Well, I just have to work the fiscal court and stuff. I've got ideas for that, you know. I'd rather they've got holding cells in jail, from what I understand. You know, you're allowed to hold them up to 4 hours. You need to hold them for that length of time instead of passing each other on the road, transporting them, and that saves the county a lot of money. And I would be a full-time jailer, and that saved the county a lot more money than that, because I'd be doing 50 to 70% of the transports.
Well, you just answered my next question, how active you'd be as the transport officer. You said you're looking to do 50 to 70% of them. That's a huge percentage. That'll save some money. Of course, you will have transport officers that you'll be effectively over, and in the eventuality of the jail reopening, have deputy jailers. What type of training do you foresee your employees getting?
Well, they've got, my understanding, the ones they've got working right now, they've been to school and stuff. They've got pretty good training. But, you know, I'd like to see them get all the training they can get, you know, whatever they can get, because, you know, they need training. Okay, that's a serious job, you know. You could get hurt or anything and doing transports and stuff. You need to be allowed to have tasers and stuff like that. And I'd be 100% for all the training they can get.
Here's a little pie in the sky, a little hypothetical. Say you get elected on January 1st. You're presented $100,000. One time you can use whatever you want to do in addition to your operating budget. What do you envision spending this $100,000?
Well, it'd be mine if I just had the $100,000 and we got the jail open for 48 hours holding facility. I'd like to take the $100,000 and work on the old part, the plumbing, you know, and it needs painting and sandblasting, and that'd go a long ways. And then the Department of Correction come back down. I'm sure they're going to say, hey, you're doing a good job, and we're going to try to get this thing reopened for the county.
All right. You get elected, 4 years down the road, you're up for re-election again. Where do you see 4 years, where do you see your position as jailer and the McCreary County Detention Center? Where do you see that direction headed in the next 4 years?
Well, the next 4 years before it's over, I'm looking for the jail to be reopened and everything running smooth and in place, and I think that I'd be the one for the job. And you can ask anybody about my work record. I've got a good work record. I've always showed up on time for work, and I've put in full day's work. And I believe I'd be someone I'd make them proud of, be your next jailer.
Okay. Do you have any message you'd like to impart to the voters of McCreary County? Here's an opportunity to take a minute or two and say what you want to say. My
name's Jesse Hatfield. I'm running for jailer in McCreary County on a Republican ticket. But it's you can vote either way. This here's a general election. You can Democrat vote for Republican vote for Democrat, or however you want to vote. I'd like to ask you to vote for me on November the 4th. And also I'd like to remind you that you can go get an absentee today. Call and they'll mail you one. You can get your absentee. Then you can mail it back to them. That's one way you can vote. And they're going to have early voting. You can vote like 3 weeks before the election. Go in the courthouse if you're going to be out of town or something and vote. There ain't no excuse to not vote. And I'd like to see everyone get out and vote. If it ain't for me, vote for someone. But I believe I'd be the best candidate for the jailer's job. Just ask anybody about my work record, and they'll tell you that I'm a 100% worker, and I will work hard to get the jail reopened. And I thank you for your vote and support. Thanks.
Again, this was Jesse Hatfield, the Republican candidate for jailer. I'd like to thank you all for watching. And Jesse, thanks for coming out today.
I appreciate you inviting me out for the interview and the debate. And I'm looking forward for the election.
Glad to have you. And remember, everybody, vote November 4th. Thank you. Hello again, everybody. We're here with Jerry Privet, write-in candidate for jailer. Jerry, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Jerry, would you take a moment to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yes. I'm Jerry Privet. I'm the son of Nancy Privet and the late Reverend Alvis Privet. Dad taught school here for 30-something odd years. He's had many students in the county. I'm 48 years old. I live in Pine Knot at the time, and I'm a write-in candidate for jailer.
Jerry, what in your professional and personal career, what kind of experiences do you have that you think will be an asset if you get elected jailer?
Greg, I've got approximately 8 years in corrections. I'm a Department of Corrections instructor. I've had affiliation with law enforcement for around 18 odd years working with different agencies, the fire departments in different areas. But you know what, as far as experience with the jail, I've been in supervisor positions in McCreary County and Whitley County.
Okay. Of course, one of the biggest topics of this campaign and of the past 2 years is the closing of the jail and the possibility of reopening it. What are your thoughts on the possibility of reopening, and do you have some sort of plan in place or in mind to get that jail back open?
Yes, we do. Ken Mobley, he reopened the jail over in Whitley County in 2006. I assisted him in the opening of that jail, so I do have the experience in reopening a closed facility. And I'm hoping that we can. I can't sit here and solemnly promise you that that jail's going to open tomorrow. But we are going to do everything that we can to get things in place to reopen the jail.
Okay. And of course, the county's financial situation isn't the best, and you'll be taking a position and have to work with the budget, and obviously a lot of money is tied up in transport. Do you have any idea on what possible ways to finance the repairs and reopening of the jail?
Well, we can look at different grants, just different monies from from different areas. There's always the USDA grant. I know people say that there's not grants out there. Well, you know, anyone that's ever dealt with grants, there is a certain time that you have to apply for the grants and a certain time that's cut off to where there's no funding. It's coming close to the first of the year, so that's when the monies are going to be available. So, I mean, you have to have something in place. You have to have some plans and ideas in order to get ready to get that money.
Of course, right now, currently, the county is running prisoners to other counties, Whitley County, Casey County, and the like, and paying transport officers to do so. And the fiscal court and the county judge executive's office are in charge of that transport plan. If elected, do you have an idea to how you're going to take that over? Are you going to use the existing system, or do you have ways to possibly reshape that?
Well, we're looking at maybe having a temporary holding facility, and not have to make several trips, but make sure that the inmates are taken care of during that time until the fact that we can get the jail reopened. The people that's working, they seem to be doing a wonderful job. But, I don't want to sit here and say, that we're not going to be accepting applications. I think everyone should have the opportunity. That way we've always got applications to draw from.
Mm-hmm. Roger, and these employees that we have and new employees that you may possibly hire, what kind of training would you want your staff to have?
Well, they have to have a 16-hour certification class, which can be taken on the computer, or, again, I am an instructor, and I would prefer to instruct them myself on the different aspects, of the job. And I would like to get some specialized training as far as weapons, OC spray or mace. It's two different things, but everyone calls it the same thing. I would like to see, maybe the implementation of tasers. Non-lethal measures is much better than having to use lethal measures. But I do want them trained in all aspects of it. That way, if we have to go to court over something, say something does happen, I want the transport officers, jail guards, however they're classified, I want them to be properly trained. I want them to have the maximum training.
Okay. Here's a little pie in the sky for you. January 1st, you're elected as jailer. You inherit the system. You have a budget that's already set by the fiscal court, and the next budget's 6 months away. But you're given $100,000 one time to do with whatever you want. What do you see spending that money on?
First and foremost, what are you talking about? Use it for the jail, or
you can use it however you want.
Well, yep. If I had $100,000, the first thing I do is I would see what I needed to do with the jail. But I would also want to see my guards in uniforms. I want them to look professional because they are representing the county first and me. And I want them to look professional and act professional. And I want them to have the proper training.
Okay. At the end of your first term, 4 years down the road, you're elected, where do you see yourself as jailer and the McCreary County Detention Center at the end of that first term?
At the end of the first term, I would like to see the jail, before the end of the first term, I would like to see the jail reopened. And if they can't reopen the jail, I'd like to see at least a new facility of some type. I know we can use existing buildings that the county owns as long as they meet jail standards. They may have to have a little work done to them that may be cheaper than working on the jail. Then again, it may be cheaper to build a facility than it would be, to redo the jail. I think the smallest facility that the Department of Corrections will let you build now is a 150-bed facility. And with that being said, we could house a lot of state inmates in order to help the county, mowing the right-of-ways, working on the parks, working for the Park Service. I mean, there's just different things that the inmates would be utilized for, roadside pickup and stuff like that.
And Jerry, as you know, like I said, the county is currently running transport officers, and it's costing $50 per officer, including time, gas. How active do you envision yourself as transport officer?
I intend to be on call 24/7. I know that there is going to be times that I'm not going to be able to do the transports. I would rather do as many transports as I possibly can myself. I want to be a 24/7 jailer, not just a 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, whatever the case may be. I want to be a full-time jailer, and that's my intention, is to do as many transports as I possibly can, because in the long run that does save the county money, because I'll be in the budget. My salary, I'm salary, so I would much rather to do most of the transports myself, but still utilize the transport officers. That way, no one's out of a job. I would like to maybe set up a schedule, and that way we could have an on-call officer all the time, and that way they know that they don't have to call 5 or 6 different transport officers. The transport officer that's there, that's going to be their schedule, and they'll have to be able to be utilized during that time.
Okay. And Jerry, now I'm going to let you have an opportunity to speak directly to the voters, and anything that you would like to say or anything we didn't cover, here's your opportunity to take a couple minutes and talk directly to them.
Okay, thank you, Greg. What I'd like to address to the voters is, I know it's a little more time consuming to take the time to write my name in, but I think that it would be very well worth the effort. I'm the only candidate that has Department of Corrections training. I'm experienced in the Department of Corrections. I am a Department of Corrections instructor. I would like to ask each and every one, first and foremost, I'd like to have your prayers through this upcoming election, and when I am elected as your jailer, if that happens, well, I would always continue to ask you for your prayers and support. And second, I'd like to ask you to vote for me, and just take the time to write my name down, and I think that you will be very well pleased with the outcome. Thank you very much.
Well, Jerry, thank you for coming out here today. Appreciate having you.
Thank you, Greg.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is Jerry Privet, write-in candidate for jailer. Remember to vote November 4th, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.